stakeholders of that chain. And that's kind of like I think, we obviously have this big topic of how do you democratize MEV in Ethereum. And I think like on this topic, these are things that, kind of can only happen in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems. And I think that's like kind of what's most exciting for me is you can actually build a truly democratic ecosystem around the tech that we're building. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, what I was always feared when MEV became a thing, or even before that, as miners will see, miners will see that basically it's uh, their days are counted because of moving to proof of stake. They will try to extract as much of value as possible because it's like most rational thing for them. And we already see in case of like Ethermine and other mining pools who are offering redistributing of MEV to people who are mining with them. But as you probably know, like mining isn't like super open to everyone. Like for example, in Europe, and especially in European Union, the costs for electricity are pretty high because of all the parts of costs in electricity. Like electricity costs are super regulated. So how can one just start mining, or even when you don't have access to hardware, which is not missing just from the like PC shops, but it's also missing for the auto car companies. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Gavin the other day said proof of work is like proof of waste. I also think it's proof of wealth as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's like the fact that we're able to kind of like, as teams, be able to look at these problems and actually come up with like solutions, and it's actually possible, and we're not limited by kind of we obviously have some limitations, but we're not limited by this like already kind of existing framework with which we have to think about. Um, I think makes for like endless possibilities.
Also, it allows us to push forward the whole ecosystem and explore even more interesting ideas within the Polkadot ecosystem, which were not touched by anyone because they are still quite far. But actually, the liquidations is something which is super suitable for them, and it's called a spree. It's basically shared execution enclave, not enclaves, but spaces, or basically it's like mechanism which is ensuring that the business logic distributed on different parachains are the same, and it was not tempered even by a governance or like malicious core developers or someone who were able to alter these like modules to something malicious. Like this is the last and missing piece in the shared security model, which I think is like one of the most exciting thing on Polkadot and Kusama. So I'm also super happy that this will push us to explore and do the research of these components as one of the first teams within the space.
Yeah, fantastic,
Absolutely.
guys. Yeah. How do you feel about turning to some questions from the listeners?
Sure, like we were talking like too much.
Yeah. So, guys, if anyone would like to ask a question or just say hi, please feel free. We are here for you. Yeah. Go ahead. Okay, just in the meantime, I was present today at kid's birthday party and talked to like one of the fathers present. He's a developer, but like I mentioned him, I work for a blockchain project, and he told me like, okay, so what's the real value behind of what you guys are doing? And yeah, I try to avoid the argue, like turning it to a polite thing, and it's really like takes time for people to understand. In just as another confirmation that we are still so early, but it's great to have people who have this vision. Okay, so we I missed one request for a question. Sorry, guys. Can you do once again?
No, I joined him. Hi, Kavadlo.
Hey, thank you. Hey, maybe I missed it, but for Angular, is this going to attach to like Hydra or Composable, or is it going to be its own separate blockchain?
It should be attached to Picasso.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be on the Picasso parachain.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But we'll see. Maybe there will be another projects who can like who can release from their pockets like hundreds of thousands of KSM. It will be harder.
Yeah. Okay, guys. If just if you'd like to say hi, and you're welcome. So don't be shy.
Maybe in the meantime, when people don't have questions, I can leak some alpha on Basilisk and Angular relationship, which is materializing very fast as we are also preparing launch of features on Basilisk. So one of the very exciting use cases which we realized as we were preparing and finishing everything for our LBP palette was observation that when you want to have like good price discovery, when your token is not pumping too much, so you need to have like enough of stablecoins or other currency in pool to be able to absorb high interest. Not everyone can afford this. And also when we were doing our LBP in February, we put there like almost everything what we raised in seed, and like I had always PTSD from Ethereum, so I feel scared as fuck, but okay. And we realized, and so when you want to do the LBP, you need to raise also seed or something, or you can make stupid Uniswap listing and put there and make the very shallow pool, so your token will pump very easily, but then dump hard, and everybody is pissed off because they were front run by bots, etc. So we realized that our LBP can work even better. That when we can source the initial capital from community or from money market like Angular, basically it can automatically repay the LBP trade during the LBP trading or period. It can be automatically repaid the loan, because I don't want to say like it's risk free, but yeah, because you can't drain more value from LBP, because even if every participant in LBP buy the token and then dump it at the end, still the LBP pool in like stablecoin side will have surplus of stablecoins. So this can be really that values are secured, and really the founders or unknown founders or whoever can make really decentralized bootstrapping events for the liquidity. So that was the one. And right now we are we are thinking how to approach this for Basilisk LBP with Karura community or our community who can mint like Karura dollars there. But in the future, when Angular will be live soon, hopefully, we can basically source these stable coins from there. So that's the one thing, and the second thing, which is I think even like more exciting, is we didn't talk about it yet, but our liquidity mining is, as always, designed very different to other liquidity mining initiatives, and basically we will be incentivizing long-term liquidity provisioning. So your reward will be increasing over time, and when you will take your tokenized position in our liquidity farms, basically your collateral will be increasing over time, so it will be also boosting or increasing your borrow capacity on Angular. So, and also makes you more capital efficient, or basically just makes your life easier when you will need to pay for some like real life stuff or like occasions or whatever. So these are two first use cases, very direct use cases for Basilisk and Angular, but the main one would be the liquidations, and that would be, I think, mostly performed by Hydra, because Hydra will be state of the art DEX, and there will be sitting, I think, more liquidity, while Basilisk there will be much more use cases which can be like tokenized and used as a collateral on Angular. So that's all from my side.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Jakub. Guys, any questions you have? I would like to. One requested. Yeah, approve. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. Yeah. I had one question, especially if coming from like Ethereum or like single or just one chain. There's no like kind of a canary chain. I still don't understand the use case. Like, doesn't that like split up your resources between Hydra and Basilisk? Now you have to like support two chains and like two development cycles and two set of users and two set of liquidity pools. I still don't get the use case. Could you like just give me like more info on that? I'm still trying to understand that.
Yes, this is very good question and very practical one. So I appreciate it. So the Basilisk code base is basically ancestor of like our oldest code base from Hekusama, which was like almost 1 year ago, or more than 1 year ago, and is like more battle tested. It actually went through one security audit. The second one will be finished soon, and the use cases are very different. Omnipool has the same security issue or concerns as, for example, Bancor latest version, when basically as you are pooling funds together, you can't introduce the pool like very novel asset which could be potentially hacked or compromised in different way. Like, for example, you could see the drama around Page token when their admin keys were compromised, and the hacker mined like infinite amount of tokens and basically drain a lot of ETH from paid and ETH pool. So we want to prevent this, and actually we are also working right now. I don't know if you are aware of it, but as we are running with token engineering community, we are trying invent with them or together dynamic fees which can prevent at least partially this type of events, but still it won't be bulletproof. So Hydra Hydra will be focused more on existing and more battle tested assets. Also, we can play with some like volume limits or liquidity limits of assets coming to pool. But this also needs more testing while these new assets can be bootstrapped on Basilisk, be isolated in like standard pools, and also Basilisk help us a lot with going through crowd loans 2 times. That that experience is really like irreplicable for any parachain founder. You really don't know how it will be and what to prepare. It's very unique, and also everything would be done for crowd loan for Basilisk will be basically recycled for Hydra or many pieces. As I told before, the like very one underestimated component in blockchains or dApps are middleware infrastructure. So RPC nodes, graph-like indexers, and this kind of stuff. They are usually the real bottlenecks in space, not consensus. So we are also working on this because there was some issue on Karura when there was like huge demand for using Karura, and basically the front end wasn't working because of this. And my friend was typing me like, Jakub, do you know if anything bad happened with Karura? And I was like, no, like what should happen? Because it didn't work. And then we realized that it's not, like nothing bad happened, just RPC nodes or indexers are too overloaded. So these are like many tiny things which can work together, and Basilisk are basically teaching us them beforehand. Hydra will go live, and the development cycle is like quite similar, but obviously we are constantly looking for more community or internal developers. So yeah, we don't want to be in a situation that it's relying only on us. Like obviously right now that's the case, but it shouldn't be. And our tokenomics is signed that we mean it like very seriously, because I hate the moment when I came to some project and I felt that, oh shit, this project is like done for me. I can get like any reasonable share on the network by work or ideas or research or anything.
Yeah, no, that does answer most of the questions. One like follow up with that would be like, as we start onboarding more people and also Hydra starts to launch, do you think people will first gravitate towards Basilisk and then Hydra, or will they both like? Would it be like Polkadot and Kusama? Would it be like using like two separate chains, like someone's using like AVAX and like Luna or something like that? Like, is it going to be completely different experience for the user, or like how do you think it's going to play out? Do you think they'll compete with each other like as a project launches? Because that's kind of, I think we haven't seen that before, so I'm interested to see like how do you think that's going to play out?
Yeah, this is also perfect question. I don't have clear answer on it because this is so unique position in crypto that we will see. Like I think people are underestimating Kusama parachain, same as we were underestimating Kusama, and I was also underestimating Kusama a lot at the beginning, and I would slap myself, myself for this mistake. I I I don't know. Like for example, what would be like very interesting case in Kusama or in like both ecosystems to watch out is like what what will do the Moonriver community with Moonbeam. Like I'm like super curious if they will, because these are like two very similar networks. It's not such a difference as Basilisk and Hydra. So I'm curious like how they will how they will react on dApps and developers who will be favoring Moonbeam because of Polkadot brand and exclusivity over the Moonriver, especially when Moonriver didn't allocate any token for VCs, while it's not the case in Moonbeam. But sorry, back to your question. The Hydra should stay the lean and most, as it will be optimized for exchanging value in scalable way as much as possible, while Basilisk should offer much more wider set of use cases. So there is already, I don't know, like 4 or 5 of them. Like the first, our substrate implementation of LBPs, then the XY3 pools with order matching, then curve pools, but only for pairs. Then there is NFT support and marketplace going on with auctions, utilizing candle auctions. So I think Basel is very much, and then there will be coming other derivative specific AMMs. So I think Basilisk will be very much different to Hydra.
Okay, before I go, last new question: We'll be able to transfer assets between Kusama or and Polkadot, or is that not possible?
What did you do with your voice? It's super cool, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be possible. It should be possible like very soon via Kusama and Polkadot bridge.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's all my questions. Hopefully we have more of these and maybe even more community comes on later. But thanks for all that.
Likewise, great questions.
Jakub, thanks a lot for sharing your vision. Branger, I would like to ask you, there is a number of open positions at Composable Finance. How about Angular Finance? And what as a co-founder, what would you like to see from people? Which qualities or skills or just in your future colleagues? So which qualities are valuable nowadays to work for a blockchain company?
Yeah, sure. So so definitely there will be more information about the positions needed for Angular in the coming weeks. But yeah, I think generally speaking, I think it is difficult to find people in the space that understand the kind of business logic, not even sort of business logic, just basic kind of, and this really just comes from experience. I think the biggest thing that someone could do that wants to get into this space professionally, if that's even the right word for it, is basically kind of studying as much as possible by actually doing things in the space, like playing, minting NFTs, playing with different applications. I think a lot of people approach me and say, how can I get into DeFi? And basically all I tell them is just start with 1,000 USDC on mainnet or even Polygon, so it's cheaper, and just go and play around with all these applications. I think once that's done, once people do that, they have a very heavy, a lot stronger understanding than the average person about what's actually happening in DeFi. Then from there, you can actually think about, well, how do you innovate upon these things? I think one of the things we do super well is UX UI, and that's not on accident. That's because we've myself and our designers spend a lot of time thinking about how do you craft the best UX possible for a user doing something, and that comes from a ton of looking at other products, looking at competitors, et cetera, et cetera. So I think really what we need in this space is, obviously more developer talent, more talent that can understand, what's actually happening. But I think also is innovators. And these innovators really can come from like all walks of life. I mean, I was just speaking to somebody the other day who's like a game developer who's really interested in DeFi, and like somebody like this can definitely, hire a team and put together something like very quickly, even as an anon. It's very doable. Like everything is very limitless in this space. And so yeah, we have a few projects under incubation now, and like working with these teams, I can confidently say that the number one thing I think we look for is just like motivation, and curiosity, and also being kind of not so overly concerned about competitors. I think like VCs obviously are very concerned about what competitors are doing, but I think it's a lot of the time founders can feel a bit combative when the topic of competitors arise. And I think like fundamentally that's, you have to have a very open mind in this space in order to, take in as much as possible to further refine and innovate upon that. I would say like, at least one of the things that I think, I'm trying to do, as best as possible, is to just be a sponge for as much information as possible across the ecosystem. And I think that's like the type of quality that either people don't really have a lot of time, or like the interest level is not really there, that precludes them from doing things in this space. And so I think that's, my advice would be play around with applications and kind of don't be sort of scared to explore things as much as possible across the ecosystem. I mean, yeah, like doing things in this space is obviously very different than others. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your reply. Yeah, Jay, go ahead. The stage is yours.
This question is for BrainJar. It's been pretty amazing watching the announcements roll out week after week and watching your ecosystem grow. I'm really hoping that we can get people more interested in you guys for the next round of Kusama auctions. But I'm just wondering, if Polkadot auctions are announced in the coming month or so, do you guys have any plans to immediately go over there with composable finance? Do you think you'd skip Kusama, or do you think you'd wait for a little bit to develop on Kusama first?
I mean, the short answer is we want to have a Kusama chain, for many of the same reasons that Jakub just mentioned. Like, I think we are certainly exploring participating in the upcoming Polkadot auctions, but I think like our top priority is to get the Kusama chain, because if we say theoretically we ended up in a situation where we obtain a Polkadot slot first before getting a Kusama slot, then I think it's just going to be somewhat counterproductive, because I really do see Kusama as being a very robust testing ground for a lot of these different applications we're interested in deploying. So, and obviously, Angular is Kusama specific, so we're definitely like have to secure a Kusama parachain as well. So we are, so I guess it's basically, short answer is we're trying to figure out what our next step is, but I think the requirement is we need the Kusama parachain.
Excuse me, I would just like to add that I feel it a lot from this call, but also from other calls, private ones, that people think that Polkadot parachains will kill interest in Kusama parachains. It's quite possible in like some range, But I would like to tell you, all of you, that this is actually not a bug but feature, because when I was talking with a lot of VCs over last months and market makers and others, a lot of them surprisingly told me that they are not interested too much in Kusama parachains rather than Polkadot and preparing there. And as we already discussed today, the situation with Moonriver, when they didn't let any token to their VCs, I think Kusama is actually the best shot for many people to become someone in blockchain space, and be as close as possible to some great projects, like the same as Zero X Maki, same as Zero X Maki become Zero X Maki, basically. Like, he was just community manager in Sushi, and when Nomi Chef did the rug pull and pissed everyone, and everyone also think that sushi will die soon. Basically, he start to be like true leader, and also he with other developers, they assemble a great team, which has like crazy success. So I think we can see very easily something similar in Kusama space, when some core devs team will abandon their Canary networks, which are often like very similar, or basically it's like copies of them, because they will be focusing too much on Polkadot parachains. And I think this is the best shot for everyone to build a career as a like co-founder of something big, or something which is like much bigger than himself or herself.
Thanks for the insights, guys.
Jakub, thank you so much. Yes, you wanted to ask something.
Oh, yeah. Hey guys, what's up? Good to talk to you. So
Hi.
I was wondering, do you have any like really low-hanging fruit that you're thinking of once, let's say, XEM or Spree is fully fleshed out, and you have, let's say, 100% cooperation with every chain on chain? Do you have like any like really cool, maybe novel types of low-hanging like fruit from that you could build?
I fear it won't be like super low hanging fruit. I think something which is your favorite topic, the off-chain workers, can be utilized a lot for a lot of trustless computation, when these off-chain workers will be covered by some stake, for example, of Angular native token or something like that. That's I think some low-hanging fruit for developers, like not super lowest hanging fruit, but for people with some experiences in space. Or there could be many people who were close to some money more lending products, so they can help us to define better interest rates. We are also planning to use Basilisk on-chain oracles, which is tracking not just price but also volatility and time-weighted averages, for for example, for automatic adjusting of collateralization ratios and penalty fees and these parameters. But I'm not I'm very skeptical that these are like low-hanging fruits. But like low-hanging fruits from, in which sense? Like from like easy of like entry level work, or just basically that we didn't have capacity yet to work on them?
Yeah, I was thinking more like things I could build in a weekend or two, and then build a lot for it. because we don't have like the XEM full capabilities yet. But considering once we do, there are going to be some ideas that I think that are just going to be like really easy to implement. Maybe hard like UX perspective, but really cool and novel, but also kind of like not too complicated to implement.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my standpoint, we just announced something we're exploring with Kilt, which is like, how do you build basically the equivalent of ENS in Polkadot and Kusama? I don't know if that's like super low hanging fruit, but I think that's like identity as a service for people to, as we actually get usage of like more products, I think there's going to be a ton of sort of like product decision making that could be driven by this on-chain identity ENS stuff. So I think that's something that's, you know, interesting to me, because I think if we want to decide, you know, say, you know, some project wants to build on Picasso, they want to start like with an initial airdrop to, say, people who use lending protocols in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems. I think having a solid understanding of like who to airdrop to would be like super useful and helpful. So yeah, that's like one idea that I think is relatively low hanging fruit.
Also, maybe the low hanging fruit would be the loan for LBP. I think I can imagine this as a low hanging fruit. So basically, you will call from Basilisk Picasso and Angular that you need for your LBP like this much. You will get it, but LBP knows that you can't touch these funds in any other way than just making LBP for the predefined time, and also during that LBP, it will be streaming back with basically rest of the funds at the end. So maybe this is the some LBP. This is the some low hanging fruit which we will at least see what is missing in XCM. But I don't think this some of these features, some of these calls will be like super complicated to add there.
Awesome, thanks guys.
Guys, how you feel? Like any more questions, or should we round up?
Like if any questions will come, I would be happy to answer them, or maybe Benjar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have time for one more question.
Like in the meantime, I would like to say that coming Wednesday there is a live event. Thanks God, there is a live event in Lisbon. You guys have a chance. Like if you anyhow, like by any chance you are in Lisbon at 3 p.m. local time, there is a meetup. You can come and enjoy a great conversation. I believe a live one, which is more precious in our times.
Yeah, it will be starting slowly. It will be basically from 3 to tonight or to evening to 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we will go over crowd loans, LBPs, what's next for Basilisk, what's next for Hydra. There will be Angular presentation by Anna. We will also explain our liquidity mining. And yeah, it will be like pretty dense. And also then we can go for a drink or something to celebrate this JV and also Basilisk slot. So everyone is pretty much welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, guys, anyone wants to ask anything? Okay, so I think it's been a great hour. Thanks a lot for joining. I would like to say that you've listened. Okay, someone wants to prove. Okay.
Sorry to even think. I just realized that in 2018 the crypto events was great to get some food because the bear market was so hard, and also get some t-shirts. But hopefully this is not the case for anyone anymore.
Okay. AW, would you like still to ask a question?
Yeah, sure. I just want to
Oh,
say congratulations, firstly, on a crowd loan win and also all the work that you guys are doing. I just wanted to
Thank you.
kind of know in terms of the Polkadot crowd loans for Hydra, is there any more information? Do you have a timeline of when you're going to get information, just in terms of the crowd loan process, the rewards, and actually the campaign?
Unfortunately, not. We don't know much more than you can know, because it's relying quite a lot on Parity and Web3 Foundation and what they will announce and how it will look like, and also how other teams will approach crowd loans.
Yeah. Thank you. No problems.
You're welcome.
ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a good time to say thank you for listening, and really like what I would like to say, like you have listened to visionaries, if not geniuses, like Jakub and Bringer. Thank you so much for your time and sharing all the ideas and information. I would like to apply to all the guys, like give Jakub and Ranger a follow. Follow HydraDX, Basilisk, Composable Finance, Angular. Stay tuned, and yeah, keep up.
Thanks everyone for coming.